Hello and welcome to part 3. We will be importing time series and saving images today. From the previous lessons, we've learned how to download and install the Emma client, as well as to visualize and import data. To recap on the first couple of parts, we are going to still revisit the process of downloading or locating the time series data. And this we've already, from the slides shown here, you can access to the GRC FTP site. The relevant usernames and passwords are quoted over here. You can do this using any FTP client, be it Core FTP or FileZilla. After a successful login, you should now be able to navigate and download your time series. They should be under the directory eStation 1.0, under Archives, Standalone, and in the folder Time Series. I have already downloaded some of this data in order to save us some time. So I have downloaded a few examples here. They are all compressed or zip files. There's the one, import modus underscore firms 2000 to 2014. Then there's also a time series for NDVI and FuseNet. So I've also taken the time to extract all these files, and here they are in their own folders over here. So I'm just going to open the first one, that is the modus firms, that goes from 2000 to 2014. Over here it is pretty simple. All you have to do is just double click on the Windows batch file that is labeled over here as import underscore time series. It's basically the same batch file, or has the same file name for all the time series that have been put there that you retrieve from the GRC FTP site. Or similarly, you can just click and read on the install instructions, and it says, and I hope you pay attention to this, it says to install the supplied time series, double click on the file import underscore time series.bat. A command window will be opened and the time series will be imported. It will take a few minutes, so always, like I said, be patient and do not close the command window whilst it is importing. It always takes a while. Normally the range, depending on the specifications of your machine, some might be faster than others, but depending, some might take a few minutes to an hour or more, depending on the number of files that have been aggregated or the time frame of that particular time series. So we're going to close this and we're going to run the Windows batch file. So it says double click. Unlike the installation of the Emma, where we do a right click and run as administrator, this here we are very specific that we're supposed to just double click, and there we go. So we're going to get the instruction importing time series, the range of the time series, and that is going to take a few minutes. So do not close this command window. So I'm going to let this run in the background, and like I said earlier, it's just really important that you double click instead of right click and run as administrator to be able to do this. The same way, because we are running the other one in the background, we can also run the time series for FuseNet and NDVI, and this is the display that we're going to get. It's going to import the time series for NDVI between 1998 and until 2000, and then it's going to do for precipitation as the FuseNet data as well. So I'd urge that always you give it some time. With the second one, I think the modus firms data, it actually imports faster, because this one includes more time series, and it includes for two products, that's the FuseNet and the NDVI, but it does take some time, so I'd urge you to be patient whilst this is importing. In case it's able to do that successfully, then you should have the screen that says, okay, modus firms area sum full archive blah blah blah. At the end it should say time series are imported. Then you just press any key to continue. If you did not do that and you went using another method, like for example, right clicking and run as the administrator, I don't know why it does that, but it does happen at times. You're going to get a normal message that it's importing time series, blah blah blah. It may take a few minutes. Be patient and do not close the command window. But at the end, it's going to give you a couple of errors, like the one we're seeing here. Sorry, like the one we are seeing here that says scripts import series no such file or directory, which means that it says that this probably means the server terminated abnormally. Although it says time series are imported, click any key to continue. No, unfortunately, your time series were not imported. So once you see this message over here, there was an issue, no password supplied and all that, no, your time series were not imported. So you'd have to actually do that again. So if you were able to do that successfully whilst that is running, unfortunately, because I have my time series running already done, I'm just going to close this and move on to launching the Emma client. We remember how to launch it by typing in the address that you see here, localhost the colon 8080/Emma/Emma, and that will take you directly to the display window for the Emma client. Yes. So there we are. I'm just going to reset the session because I was already working on something already. So I'm just going to reset it so we can do it from the scratch. Now to import time series, we go to the left pane, the pane on the right here, sorry, and we click on the time series tab. Now we're going to see the time series groups that are listed over there. And mind you, it's not all of these time series groups that we've imported. So we need to be a bit careful what we try to import. So now we've imported the Modis firms as well as the FuseNet. So these are what we can see and not, and I've imported previously the FuseNet, Modis firms as well as the NDVI. So these are what we can visualize for now. If you haven't imported any other product time series, you wouldn't be able to visualize this. Okay, one thing I forgot from yesterday, importantly from other country source, anyone else who might have a language preference, that there's this language tab over here that allows you to switch between English, French and Portuguese. So I just selected French and we realized that voila, everything has changed into French. Likewise, we can change to Portuguese, but I'm just going to go back to English so we can continue with this tutorial. Okay, so back to the time series tab. Now I'm just going to select a product, let's say FuseNet, and there's a layer over here that we have to display. I'll show you why later on. So we select the layer also, then we select the time series we want to display. I'm going to select the first option, FuseNet RFE area average, and then I'm going to select on a year to display. So for this I'm going to choose 2005, and then these are polygons or areas that have been layers that have been designed for you. So whatever time series you want, you are going to have to click within one of these areas. So I'm just going to choose one within Ghana, I think the western part of Ghana over here. I'm just going to click on it, and when I do that, the time series for that particular area will be generated. So the plot you're seeing here is a time series plot for rainfall in western Ghana. So we're going to see that the rainfall actually increases a bit. It's very low, but seems to increase and peaks around June, which is actually between May and July is actually the rainy season in Ghana. So you're going to see it peaking over there, then reduces a bit till the latter part of the year as well. Now there are some chart properties, and we can also change how the display is gone. So we can actually change the color in which we want to display these columns that are shown over here. We can choose any color, And when you do that, you always click on apply properties to make the changes to the chart. So clicking on apply, we change the color, and we click on apply properties to change the plotted chart. We can also change the chart type to either a column graph, an area graph, or a line. So we can also make this a line plot, and when we apply, we realize that it's no longer a column chart, but now a line graph. There are also parts here where we can change the properties of the window, the height and the width of the window, as well as the title that appears on our time series graph. So for this, we can just give a name like rainfall in Ghana for 2005. Okay, so we apply, and we realize that the title over there changes. We can also give it a subtitle, maybe make it a bit specific to where in Ghana the rainfall is coming from, or any other appropriate title. We can also label our X and Y axis, so the X axis can be months, and our Y axis is giving us the rainfall recorded in millimeters. Okay, so that's basically it, and we can apply this, and we realize that the months and the y-axis labels are drawn here. Now, one particular thing about this is we can actually even plot more values on this as well. So let's say we can add NDVI. So with the time series, we can do more than just, unlike the product, one can only display one product at a time. For the time series, we can plot more than one time series at a time. So now I'm going to try to plot FuseNet and NDVI for a little bit in the middle here. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so now we have two plots, and we have the green representing the NDVI, where we have the red also representing rain for a part of the Republic of Congo. We can change the types, the colors as we want. So we're just going to make the other one blue and apply that. But be mindful also the sort of colors you use, because you're going to change and you want to be able to distinguish or differentiate between what is what. So the better the contrast between the colors, I think it would be best to help you identify what is actually plotted where. So with that done, the next thing would be to save our plot. Although we've got this nifty save chart button over here, it doesn't really seem to work properly. I've tried it a couple of times and it never seems to save my file. So I'm just going to show you what happens. And in trying to save that to a portfolio, it takes a while, it tries to save, and then it comes back with an error and says it failed. So unfortunately, you cannot use that option to save your charts, but there is another way. It's not all lost. As soon as this is done, I'm going to show you another means to save your charts, in case, I don't know if this is working for some of you, but for exactly, so this is what I was talking about. It always comes back as failed. So what I normally do is just right click and save the picture, and then I can give a name to it. Let's say time series, and then I'm just going to save it as any format. I normally like to save as PNGs, and that is it. It's saved. We can always go back and view our saved image. So time series, I think that was the name we gave to it. Yes, and that is it. Our time series for the Republic of Congo was saved properly. So done with that, and I think okay, so now we're going to go to the images tab and try and save an image from there. So we're going to go to oceanography and select sea surface temperature product. So we're going to visualize one from 2014 for June. Okay. Yes, we're going to apply a predefined area, and with the predefined areas we do not necessarily have to apply an entire region or the continent. We can also break it down into, let's say, countries. We can select a few countries and that would bring that country into view, and then we can look at the sea surface temperatures around there. So it's not necessarily having to all the time look at the regional, the whole and entire region. You can just look at it by countries. So go back to ECOWAS, and now we have the entire part of Western Africa, and then we can save this image. First we can save directly, and it should have downloaded and shown to you, where we can open and then view the saved product. Unfortunately, with this particular type of save, it only brings you the map without the legend. Like you see over here, the legend doesn't really show in the bottom. But if you still want the legend, I mean, you can always do a screenshot. So you press the print screen button on your keyboard, sorry, and then you can paste it at the appropriate location, and we can just simply paste this, and we have your map and your legend. Alternatively, also you can save to your portfolio. You give a description to the map, and then you can successfully save to your portfolio. And anytime you're ready, you can open your portfolio. You can get all the images that you've previously saved, and then you can use them for your reporting. Also, in your portfolio, you can add external images, not just the ones that you've saved in there. So you can always import other images that you think are of interest to you, and then you can use this in your portfolio. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope this was useful to you. Thank you very much again.